right, just checking to see if all the streams are up and running. Let us see. Let me go make the rounds here. Let me go make the rounds. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, looks like Facebook is rocking and rolling. And I do believe YouTube is rocking and rolling as well. It is. And one last place. And there I am on the party page. Very cool. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be doing the Fretboard Wizard wrap-up party. I'm going to be doing a bunch of giveaways and things like that. But we're going to start that at 11. I'm going to just take this time to get settled, have some coffee with you, and just chat. Do a little, maybe ask me anything if you have any questions. This is also a chance for me to get the technology kind of worked out, get any kinks that may be happening. So if you're listening or watching and the audio is kind of low or the picture's weird, just go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to make it as smooth of a live as I possibly can. But according to all the buttons and the meters, whatever they call them, the gauges, everything looks like it's working okay. But let me just mute a couple of things over here, just because I don't want to. Certainly don't want to have a bunch of audio just rolling at me, which is never good at all. Let's see. Oh, got a lot of people tune in. Very cool. I want to say hi to Noel M, James S, JR, Joe S, Jeff C. He says sounds good from Tucson. Very cool. Thank you for the confirmation there. It's always I'm always a little tentative when we get going. I want to make sure that everything's working okay. The folks from Thompson Guitars are tuning in. How are the holidays with the new baby? Fantastic. Truly amazing. In fact, Emerson just turned 3 months yesterday, and it's crazy to think that 3 months have passed. In my head, I equated it to when I was a kid, and you'd have summer vacation, and it was 3 months, and you'd come back to school, and like everything had changed. Like your buddies got taller, and some people's interests maybe changed. And I was thinking about that last night, and I was like, man, that's crazy. It's kind of true for the little babies too, because so much changes in such a short period of time. But yeah, it's going well. Thank you for asking. The sleep is getting better. I'm scared to say that out loud, really. The sleep is going pretty good. But Emerson is healthy. He's pretty awesome. So that's always good to see. 3 months does go fast indeed. Let's see. Somebody asked about the guitar. Yeah, that's a Martin HD35. I'll get here, and this is the first. It's the first kind of quote unquote real guitar that I owned. I put it on layaway at the Old Town School. It took me about 1.5 years to pay it off, and I was selling just a bunch of stuff on eBay, a bunch of random things that were laying around the house, and it all amounted to a guitar. So I was pretty happy about that. Let's see. Oh, cool. We got tune in from Hong Kong here. Joyful Choice says hello back. This is a great comment that I have to read, because it just I shouldn't give it any attention, but it came from YouTube, and it's really just somebody that shouldn't be on the stream at all. Yeah, you're boring. You're very boring. Hey man, bad, very bad. Oh my God, do us and the whole world a favor. Dedicate yourself to something else, please. No, I love guitar. Sorry, I'm not going to dedicate myself to anything else. It's going to be 100% guitar, 100% all the time. So thank you for your comment, but do yourself a favor and maybe get off the live stream. Anyways, let's see. What do we got here? Speculative dates for Spring Fretboard Wizard. Actually, I was looking at the calendar this morning, and I want to say it happens in April. I'm not 100% sure. We haven't set any dates, so please don't write that down. But I'm pretty sure April is around when Fretboard Wizard happens. But we'll certainly confirm. And of course, those of you that are on the email list, TAC members, etc., you'll be getting those dates for sure. So you'll be very, very aware. Somebody got a new guitar. I'm missing something. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. Omar, I think, got a new guitar. Congratulations, Omar. Oh, he says maybe. Okay. he's gonna unveil it at the next Friday night open mic. Very cool. Congratulations, Omar. That's fantastic. Somebody's gonna actually win a guitar today. I'm gonna be giving away a Waterloo WL14. Which is a guitar that I really want. So it's always exciting to give those away. In fact, when I was leaving the house this morning, Whitney's like, "Aren't you giving away a guitar today?" She's like, "What guitar are you giving away?" That's when you know you're a guitar geek, when your wife asks you, "Hey, what guitar are you giving away today?" or "What guitar are you shopping for?" And I said, "Waterloo." And it's one that I really want. And she just kind of rolled her eyes. But I said, that makes it all the more fun because whomever it goes to, that means whenever I'm in their area, I can knock on their door and just visit the guitar. Anyways, I want to say hi to a couple more folks that are tuning in. Lee W's tuning in from Portland. Marty F. K-Man's tuning in. Fred F is here. He's a newcomer. Welcome, Fred. Vic G, hello. Let's see who else we have. Michael K, Puppy Doc, excuse me, David W. And we have that's all on that end of things. Let me pop back on over to Facebook and see if there's any questions. If you have any questions, any topic right now, go ahead and let them fly in the comments. I'll start the official Fretboard Wizard wrap-up party around 11 o'clock. And we'll be going through kind of what the next steps for you and your guitar journey are. In fact, there's some really cool avenues you can go within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and I'll recommend those as we get going here at 11. I'm also going to be doing some giveaways, plus you're going to be hearing some Fretboard Wizard declarations from your fellow TAC members. And it's really exciting. In fact, when I was watching these this morning, I was just kind of touched at how many different types of guitar players Fretboard Wizard has helped. And I think the declarations that you're going to see today will really show that. People from all different backgrounds, all different experience levels, really getting good information out of Fretboard Wizard. So that's pretty darn awesome. And then, of course, during our official Fretboard Wizard wrap party, which will start at 11 again, I will be answering your questions live. So if at any point in time today you have a question for me to answer, please in the comments put hashtag question and then go ahead and ask that question. It just kind of helps me parse out the questions. So I know there's oftentimes a lot of discussion going on, various comments, etc. So if you could just put hashtag question in the comments, that'll kind of tip me off to, hey, that's a question. So I appreciate you doing that. Patty H is tuning in from Rhode Island. Lisa E just said, I need some tips on strumming hand muting, like palm muting. And it's a really interesting, it's a very interesting technique. And sorry, the words are coming slow today. I know I said the sleep was getting okay, but I think it might be taking its toll on me. But palm muting is a really great and effective technique because it allows you to offer something different tonally to a song, be it maybe it's a jam, maybe it's just a song that you're recording, or maybe it's just a kind of an emotion you're trying to create within a song. And the key with palm muting is that we're not completely muting the strings dead. Okay, there's a very specific location I'll have you actually mute, and I'll try and show this as best I can on this camera here. But if you mute away from the saddle here, you're going to get just dead strings. That's not what we're after, but it's a common mistake, and I just want you to know why it's a mistake and why it sounds the way it does. We're not getting any tone out of the strings. If you actually slide your hand back towards the saddle, this white part here, and actually just cover the saddle, you're going to hear a major difference, right? Here's the totally muted way, and here is the correct way. You're getting just a subtle amount of sustain out of the strings, but more importantly, you're actually letting the strings speak just a little bit. This palm muting is a wonderful thing because it gives you this almost percussive rhythmic effect, but it allows the chord information to be communicated, right? You can actually hear that it's a chord, and you'll be able to hear when I change chords. So how do you actually work on this skill? Well, first things first is you want to take kind of the meaty part of the palm and rest that on the saddle of your guitar. And what I'm doing when I palm mute is I'm really only focusing on the low strings, the kind of the E, A, and D strings, right? doing is I'm using all downstrokes right now, and generally speaking, when palm muting, I only use downstrokes. I find it very hard to use upstrokes when I'm palm muting. So just keep that in mind, and go slowly, right? So you want to kind of dial in your tone and something that's comfortable for you. You'll notice that my arm is not moving at all, and that's not the case when I strum. When I strum, my arm is loose and it's kind of moving with the strumming hand. When I'm palm muting, it's really generating from my wrist down. And the reason is it's allowing me to keep my palm on that saddle to maintain that palm muted tone. So I would say focus on the low 3 strings, get your palm in the right spot over the saddle, and just use downstrokes to start. It's a technique that can be difficult to get used to, but it's truly an asset to your playing when you start to use it. Again, to kind of affect what you're playing, whether you want to kind of bring it down dynamically or maybe add a different layer if you're playing with other guitar players, it can be a really helpful technique. That's an awesome question. Thanks, Lisa, for asking that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, a lot of votes for palm muting. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see if there's any other. Oh, David S. Sorry, it took me a second to read this. David S. says, not in the Fretboard Wizard. That's okay. You can still tune in. But I wanted to say thank you to Tony for your compliments. And, of course, my nickname in the December Monthly. That's really my favorite song right now. Yeah, David played, and the name of the song is escaping me. Essentially, the premise was he thought the song was more of a lullaby, and it was really kind of almost like a letting go song, someone passing along. And it's a really great song. He did this wonderful kind of delicate treatment of the song, and it was great to hear you play, David. And of course, I explained the origins of his mythical nickname, Sherpa Dave, and it has nothing to do with helping people climb mountains, but everything to do with carrying as many guitars as humanly possible wherever he goes. Oh, he just put the tune in there. He says, "Who will sing me lullabies?" And that's by Kate Rusby, the original version. And the version that you chose to mimic, I can't remember. It's kind of an odd band. I remember you saying it has like a piano and a cello or something in it. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. I want to say hi to some more folks while we're just kind of getting going here. Scott S. from Minnesota is tuning in. Mark B., Tanya L., Ken M., SoCal Ian. So great to see so many familiar faces. David just put the band name in there, the Syncopaths. So very much appreciate that. Oh, cool. Thomas S. I just popped over to YouTube for a second. I wanted to check in and see what was going on there. Thomas S., congratulations on a new guitar to him. I just ordered my first acoustic guitar here via Sweetwater. Decided to go with the Martin GPC 28E. I'm going to need a hell of a lot of more of your courses for me to justify this purchase. Dude, that's super exciting. I'm so pumped for you. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, just in general while we're just chatting here, is, a new guitar or a guitar that inspires you can just launch your guitar journey in such a positive direction. It's that thing where, like, you get the new guitar and you just want to play. All you want to do is play. That's all you want to do, because it's a new guitar. It's exciting. It sounds good. And if you can just kind of harness that feeling and just keep that up day after day, that really will have a huge impact on your playing. Another question here from Scott R. And he says, question, up in northern Alberta, Canada, what's your best humidifier tips? We dry out like crazy in the winter. Well, Scott, first and foremost, are you an Edmonton Oilers fan? I just want to know. It's okay if you are, and it's okay if you're not. I just kind of want to see if you're a hockey fan. Anyways, let's get to the humidification question. So I actually just in the last year converted to a room humidifier because I was buying, actually I have them sitting on my desk still. Check this out. I was buying these Bovida Humidipacks in bulk because I have a problem. I have tons of guitars. Some might see it as a problem. I actually don't see it as a problem. But I was buying those, a ton of those, and it's like it just didn't seem cost effective at a certain point in time, and it also seemed really wasteful, and I don't want to waste. So I moved to this humidifier. It's called the Venta Air Washer. The Venta Air Washer. It's a German-made humidifier that doesn't have any filters. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to maintain. It's not cheap. They go from anywhere between $350 to up to $500. But given the amount of instruments and the care that I want to take of them, I thought that was very well worth it. So I got this Venta air washer, and I can't remember the model. I want to say it's an LW45, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, it has kept my guitar room at a steady, and I'm talking steady, between 45 and 50. And I check it in the morning and I check it at night. And as long as I keep the humidifier full, that room stays steady right again between 45 and 50 degrees. And the beautiful thing about this humidifier, not all humidifiers are created equal. Sometimes just the standard humidifier you might get at like a supermarket or a convenience store like a Target or a Walmart or something like that can add this kind of white filmy dust that you can start to see on your instruments as it's kind of putting moisture in the air. The Venta air washer doesn't do that. It just has this. It's a cool air humidifier, so it's a really wonderful machine, and I can't recommend it enough. But just do know that it is pretty expensive. But if you have a bunch of guitars, it does the job. It really does. So that's a great question, and certainly you want to take care of. Just saw Scott's response. He said, "Sorry, I'm an Avalanche fan. No Hawks for me." That's okay. That's okay. I'm not actually. I've really appreciated the Avalanche this year, and I think if injuries didn't bite them, I think they would have. I think they would have made a run, like a real solid run, because they had a stellar team. Nonetheless, Scott's been using the Kaiser lifeguards, and those are good because it keeps the humidification in the actual instrument, which is great. But I've used those in the past, and I have a tendency to kind of be messy with those and get water spots on the top of the guitar, which maybe that's just me hastily using them and not wringing them out, good enough. But I really do. If you're looking for an in-instrument humidifier, the Boveda Humidipacks are my go-to. In fact, I keep those in my cases, so when I take the guitars, on the road or what have you, I can have humidification there as well. Awesome question. Very timely question indeed. I want to say hi to my cousin, Josh, who just tuned in. He's a Hawks fan, and I'm glad to hear that, actually, Josh. I hope you're doing awesome, man. It's good to see your name pop up on here. Dan says, love the mandolins the other day on your post. If I'll just throw this out here kind of before we get started with the official Fretboard Wizard party, but if you're not following tack.guitar on Instagram, please consider doing so. I've been really digging into Instagram lately, and I kind of feel like a little bit of a technological hermit in a way. I just started doing Instagram like a year ago. All the kids, they're doing it. I'm late to the party. My son knows more about it than I do. Anyway, not Emerson. Emerson's only 3 months old. I'm talking about Aiden. He's 13. Anyways, I've been posting a lot of great stuff on there. Well, I mean, you can judge if it's great or not. But I've been posting, I commit to a daily practice routine. And I've been posting what I've been working on every weekday, which has been really fun. And then on the weekends, I'm kind of going to start to reserve that for some more kind of fun posts and things like that. But please, again, consider following Tack on Instagram, tac.guitar. I'd love to see your names pop up over there as well. Let's see if we got any more quick questions I can answer before. Rich S asks a really good question. This is awesome. This is a kind of a cool playing question. Question, is Johnny Cash's sound just a boom chicka strum? It doesn't sound quite right. I'm having trouble achieving that sound. And this is a great question. I wanted to say, I've been actually watching a couple videos specifically on Johnny Cash, and there's one YouTuber whom I really like. She puts out some amazing content, Mary Spender. And she did a video on Johnny Cash, and she did it demoing an orange amp. So this is a little bit more in the electric guitar realm, which is okay. But she does a great job of explaining his technique there. But I would say that the Johnny Cash sound very much is boom chicka. But he does add some palm muting. And I don't know if I'll be able to replicate it just on the spot here. actually, this brings us back to Lisa's initial question about palm muting. You know, I was mentioning all downstrokes, and just kind of messing with this right now. He's using an upstroke, so it's a boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka. So that palm mute does play a big role, and I believe that's the case on electric as well, but certainly on acoustic. And I want to say, you know, this might be a little bit of a detour, but at one point in the Johnny Cash movie, so who knows if this is dead on truth or not, but I want to say that he put some sort of a paper or dollar bill behind the strings to kind of give it this kind of almost snare kind of effect. But certainly, yeah. Somebody just put it. Bent Funch says, question: isn't there also something about Johnny Cash putting a dollar in between the strings? I don't know if that's true. I mean, it seems to pop up in enough places to where there probably is an element of truth to it. So I certainly would attribute that to his sound as well. And then I also saw that Marty Schwartz did a good video on Johnny Cash's strumming. Juan E just mentioned that. So very cool to see, and a great question. It's always kind of fun to dig into various people's styles and whatnot. I just popped over to Facebook, and I want to say hi to a couple more folks. Ann D is tuning in from Ottawa, Canada. Do I have live chats like this in the evening or weekends as I work during the day? Currently I've been doing the lives at 11 a.m. Mountain time. Sorry, I don't want to confuse anybody here, but I do potentially see, and those are the regularly scheduled lives. I do potentially see maybe down the road in 2021 doing some other times because I've really been enjoying these. It's really fun to connect with you all. And it's super, super fun to answer questions and just chat guitar, just kind of geek out. The Acoustic Tuesday show is my chance to speak and kind of talk about guitar, but these lives give a nice chance to interact, which is doubly fun. So it's like double mint gum, double your pleasure, double your fun, double your double mint with double mint gum. I can't remember the phrase. Anyways. I feel like there's a lot of Canadians tuning in today. I was just looking over on the other side. I saw Cros's name pop up, and I know he's from Oshawa. And Nancy D is tuning in from Shawville, Quebec. And very cool to see so many folks from the Great White North tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get this official party started here. I've got about 30 windows open on my computer. And I want to sink into Fretboard Wizard. I want to talk about Fretboard Wizard, and I want to dig into the questions that you have, that you may have with the Fretboard Wizard course. And again, I'll mention this. If at any point in time today you have a question in the comments, please put hashtag question. It just helps us suss out the questions and kind of partition them out. I just saw one more question I want to hit before we officially dig in. Sorry. Tex Haynes asks, what is your favorite pickup for your Martin acoustic guitars? And this is a very timely question because not next week, but the week after next. I think it's the week after next. There's an upcoming episode of Acoustic Tuesday in which I'm going to go over my 5 favorite acoustic guitar pickups. And prior to that, I'm actually going to sink into different types of acoustic guitar pickups. So you can kind of, if you're going pickup shopping, etc., you can kind of figure out what will work best for you. And I'm also going to dispel one of the biggest myths surrounding acoustic guitar pickups. But to answer your question real quickly right here, Tex, in my, let's see, I have an OM28 Marquis, a 1935 Martin Single 017, this Martin HD35. All of them have pickups, and all of them have the same pickup, and I like the K&K Pure Mini pickup. It's a relatively transparent contact pickup. It's a 3-element contact pickup that sits on the bridge plate underneath the inside of the top. And to me, it offers the best balance and the best transparency, meaning when I plug the guitar in with some subtle EQ tweaks, I can actually get the guitar sounding good coming out of an amplifier, which is sometimes a challenge with any acoustic guitar pickup because it's just it's one barrier between the actual acoustic sound. So great question, Tex, and thank you for asking that. It gives me a chance to promote an upcoming Acoustic Tuesday episode. But let's go ahead and dig into the Fretboard Wizard wrap-up party here. As I mentioned before, please, if you have a question about Fretboard Wizard, hashtag question, and go ahead and type that in the comments. And really, we could run the gamut on all of Fretboard Wizard right now. You know, the first time we did a check-in, it was really geared toward the foundational 5. But if you have questions about ear training, how to pick out the chords of a song, soloing, just go ahead and fire away. I'll be dedicating some specific time to questions here in a moment, but I want to share some other things that we'll be doing. I'll be giving away a ton of prizes today. The big one is a Waterloo WL14, a guitar that I really, really want, but I'll be giving one away. It'll come to you from Eddie's Guitars. Huge thanks to Eddie's Guitars always for helping us out. I'm going to be giving away 2 lifetime memberships to Tony's Acoustic Challenge. I'm going to be giving away 2 Acoustic Tuesday hooded sweatshirts. It's that time of year. The hooded sweatshirt is my favorite piece of clothing. Therefore, why not give away 2 Acoustic Tuesday hooded sweatshirts? And check this out. We just started making these hats. Well, we're not making them, but we just kind of started. We're not officially carrying the hats yet. So this is like a sneak peek, but I'm going to give away 4 of these today. These hats basically have the most important mantra you'd ever want. Be nice and play guitar, with the Tony's Acoustic Challenge logo on the back. I was actually wearing it earlier. I had my hair pulled back. This kind of looks like Joe Dirt a little bit. I had my hair pulled back, and I wanted to wear it during our live today, but the lighting was just, it cast a weird shadow on my face. But I'll be giving away 4 of those hats. So super excited to dig into that. But what I wanted to do first is talk about, so now that you've gone through the Fretboard Wizard course, what do you do next? What's next? You know, you go through the 6 weeks of some really foundational knowledge, some foundational really music theory, but more than music theory, because we're actually applying it to the guitar. Theory belongs in a book. Theory is something that you think about. Theory is something that is an idea that is based on different principles, right? Well, we're taking that theory and making it come alive in Fretboard Wizard, right? We're actually applying it to the guitar and saying, hey, this is true on paper, but check this out. It works on your guitar, and this is where you're actually going to use it. And that really is the magic sauce of Fretboard Wizard, is the actual application from the foundational 5 to picking out a song's key by ear, to picking up the chords by ear, to being able to solo, pick out melodies, and ultimately craft your own songs and feel comfortable playing a song that maybe you've only heard a couple of times, or maybe somebody just said, hey, let's play this. It's in the key of A, 1, 5, 6 minor 4. Let's go. So that's really the magic of Fretboard Wizard. And I just want to take a moment before we dig into kind of my recipe for going forward. And I want to congratulate everybody that went through it. And I think what you're going to see today, we're going to look at a couple different Fretboard Wizard declarations, and you're going to see players of all different skills, of all different times in their guitar journeys. I'm talking beginners, people coming back to the guitar, folks that have played guitar consistently but have never really dug into learning what they're doing and being able to name it. And you're going to hear from all of them, and it's really cool to get these different perspectives and what they've pulled out of the program, because they truly believe there's something for everyone. And if what they say is any testament to it, it's true. It really is true. So we'll dig into that. But again, I just wanted to congratulate everyone that went through the program so far. I already told you what I'll be giving away today. In fact, we'll be doing a giveaway here in just a moment. I'm going to give away 2 hats here in just a second. Now, to be entered into this giveaway, you have had to have gone through the Fretboard Wizard program, and you have had to have wow, that's a lot of haves and hads. You had to submit your Fretboard Wizard declaration by yesterday at 5 p.m. And I pulled all the names. I put them on a spreadsheet so everybody has a number. And I'll be using a random number generator. In fact, I'm going to just pop my computer. I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see that? It's a random number generator and spreadsheet. My computer is just a complete wreck. But anyways, I'll be using a random number generator. And as soon as I get that number, I'll announce the name of who won and what prize. So that will be coming up here in just a moment. But let's first talk about... Uh-oh, my computer came unplugged. Hold on one second. I don't want it to run out of juice. Give me a second. That's what happens when I get squirrely and I go off the script. Okay. I'm back. And I wore my green Blackhawks jersey today because we're doing a giveaway, and it's lucky. And I've got red Blackhawks socks on, so I crossed the Christmas box too. Anyways, sorry, I'm really excited to be doing this today. let's um, let's chat about what to do next with your fretboard wizard knowledge, because it can kind of feel like the 6 month process of going through 6 week process of going through fretboard wizard, and all of a sudden you come to an end, and it's like, okay, I remember some of that, but what do I do now? And what I really want to talk about is this notion of the learning pendulum. I call it the learning pendulum. I'm sure there's a precise name for it in a book somewhere, but it's something that I've used time and time again in my guitar journey, and I've used it to great benefit, and I've seen it play out in other people's guitar journeys as well. And it's exactly why you hear people say, gosh, this is the third time I went through Fretboard Wizard. This is the fourth time I went through Fretboard Wizard, and I'm still pulling out new information. And to me, it has everything to do with the learning pendulum. And I want to talk about it right now real quickly, and then I'll give away a couple hats here right off the bat. But the learning pendulum is essentially, it has two ends to it, or spectrum. You can call it a spectrum. We have the playing guitar and applying the knowledge, and the actual learning the knowledge, the understanding the concepts, the kind of looking at it on paper, maybe working through it on paper. Those are the two ends of the spectrum. And sometimes you find yourself on the playing end of the spectrum. You're learning new songs, you're learning new licks, you're committed to your guitar routine, you're playing day in and day out. You're doing a technique-focused warm-up, you're playing licks, you're learning to scale and improvising with it. You're learning rhythm guitar techniques, you're practicing your chord transitions. That's all on the application side of things, right? The physical playing of the guitar and putting your skills to physical action. The other side of the spectrum, sometimes you find yourself there, and what usually brings you there is you start asking questions. Gosh, I'm playing this song. I'll use Wagon Wheel as an example because I seem to pick Wagon Wheel. I either pick Wagon Wheel or I pick Freight Train. Those are the two examples I usually pick. But let's say you're learning Wagon Wheel, and you're running into it, and you say, okay, I keep seeing these chords together all the time. I just learned some old bluegrass song, and then here I am learning Wagon Wheel, and it's the same chords. It's G, D, E minor, C. Why do those chords always find themselves together? That's a question you might ask. You might also ask, gosh, when I'm watching somebody play or listening to a band, they simply give a nod to someone else, and that person starts soloing. How the hell do they know what to play? What do they? Is this some magic? Is this some like voodoo magic that is they're using here? And these are the questions that actually bring us to that other side of the pendulum, where we start to learn some of the concepts, the foundational five, right? Learning the musical alphabet, learning what a major scale is, learning how to construct a chord matrix, learning what makes a chord major or minor, and learning, specifically on the guitar, the cage system. And I think so often what ends up happening is when we're on one side of the spectrum, we completely ignore the other side. And that's okay. But please don't be stuck on one side of the spectrum. So often I hear, I'm trying to learn this theory stuff and I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. That's a signal, right? It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you weren't meant to do it. What it means is that maybe you've exhausted that side of the pendulum and you need to go back into playing the guitar to see if anything that you learned can start to make sense. Maybe you can connect the dots with the guitar physically in your hand when you couldn't when you were just reading about it, right? I know that happened. That happened to me. I went to a college class specifically to learn theory, and all I learned was how to read standard notation and how to look at this stuff on paper. I would go back to my guitar and I'd feel completely dejected because I didn't know how to make the parallel. I didn't know how to make the connection. But when I started to understand theory more, then I was able to look at the guitar in a completely different light. And again, I think one thing informs the other. Me going from my college class to the guitar showed a huge gap in my knowledge in that I was just learning it on paper and I wasn't applying anything to the guitar. So I would try and apply the basic principle to the guitar, like a major scale. And when I started making the connections, on my guitar, I could then look back at the book and it would make so much more sense. Okay, so this pendulum is so crucial, and it's really a two-way street. Whatever side you're on, just know when you kind of exhaust that side, or you feel frustrated, or you feel like you're full, or you feel like, okay, I can't take anymore, please swing to the other side. Go start playing your guitar, go start diving into books. Whatever side of the pendulum you were on, go to the other one and see if you can make any connections. And that really, to me, is the premise of the Fretboard Wizard course, in that not only are you learning these concepts, but you are applying them to your guitar. So over the last 6 weeks, you've kind of participated in this pendulum, and I want you to take that piece of it out and apply it to your journey kind of in mass. Whatever you're learning, be it a song, be it, writing your own music, playing with others, always know that, the guitar is such a vast field of study. That sounds way too scientific, but that's the words I chose. It's such a vast field of study that there is no dead end. There is never a dead end. And when you feel like you're at a dead end, or you feel like you've run out of options, try and turn 180 degrees and go the other way. And that's really what the pendulum is, and it can truly inform your learning process, and you can start to make these connections that you otherwise wouldn't see. So that's my recipe for going forward with Fretboard Wizard. You've kind of participated in the pendulum over the last 6 weeks, and I want you to take that same notion and apply it to anything you're doing. For you TAC members doing the daily lessons or the daily challenges, start to look at those through a different lens. When they're in a specific key, why are they in a specific key? And maybe you see notes that don't belong. Why are those in there? Start asking those questions, because it might lead you back to some concepts that you had already learned, but now you have different information, right? Context informs the questions that we can ask, and those questions give us the answers that bring us back to understanding that initial context even greater. So it's kind of this process. And actually, there's a couple of Fretboard Wizard declarations that you're going to see a little bit later today that hit that exact point, hit the nail right on the head. And we'll get to those here in a moment. In fact, I've got 2 coming up, one from Pam S. and one from Eric B. And I saw somebody ask about bar chords earlier. And we're going to look at what Pam did for bar chords, and it really impressed me. It's not something that she called attention to, but it's something that I noticed in watching her video that I want to point out to anybody struggling with bar chords. We'll get there in a second. I want to give away a couple hats. Again, I'm going to be giving away 2 of these hats right now, the Be Nice Play Guitar hats, which is a mantra that everybody needs. In fact, the cool thing, I got a story quick. I was wearing that hat yesterday, driving into the studio, and I was like, I got to get some coffee. I was lazy. I didn't feel like making coffee. Go to the drive-thru, my favorite local coffee joint, Cafe M. It's actually where I met Whitney. And I was sitting in the drive-thru, and I'm behind this woman who, she's taking a long time at the drive-thru. And I was like, maybe the drive-thru's broken. And then I started to get a little impatient. I didn't beep or anything. In my head, I was like, man, really? I just want a coffee, and I want to get on with my day. So she goes up, she pays for her thing. I go up to get my coffee. The woman that was working there hands me the coffee, and I handed her my card. She said, "Oh, no, the lady that was in front of you paid for your drink." And I thought to myself, wow, what an act of pure niceness. And I remember I had that hat on, and I'm not going to say it's because of the hat that you'll have good luck, but I think that was attributed to the hat, and also that lady was incredibly nice. So whomever you are, if you happen to be a guitar geek and you're watching this, I just want to say thanks. It really made my day. But let's give away a hat. Okay, so I'm going to my random number generator right now. You're like, Tone, what was that story all about? That was a really bizarre story. It's something I wanted to share. It was really cool. Kraz asks if they're game-worn hats. They're not necessarily game-worn hats. You wouldn't want one of those, but they kind of have that vintage look. They have a little roughed up edges and things like that, which I particularly like. So let me generate a random number here, and I'll announce the winner. The random number is 59, and let me just head over to my list. Elsie Smith, you've won yourself a hat. Congratulations, Elsie Smith. Let me just go ahead and give you a little round of applause here. Congratulations, Elsie Smith. You've won yourself a hat. And I'm going to give away one more hat, just for kicks. And the random number that was generated was number 41, and it looks like Jeremy H. has won himself a hat. So congratulations, Jeremy H. 2 hats given away. I feel good. I feel good giving things away. I've had this long dream of being a game show host. When I stayed home from from school, when I stayed home from school sick, I would watch Price is Right. It was like the highlight. Sometimes I would even fake sick just so I could sit on the couch and watch Price is Right. And I'd watch Bob Barker, and I'm like, man, he gets along with everybody. He says all the right stuff. I want to be kind of like Bob Barker. So this is my chance. I'm not spinning the wheel or doing the Plinko machine, but I'm giving away hats and it feels good. Uh, so 2 winners there, Jeremy H. and Elsie Smith. Congratulations to you both. Let's take a look at a couple Fretboard Wizard declarations. And this is once you finish the program, you essentially announce that you're a Fretboard Wizard and share with everybody what your apprehensions were when you started, what you learned, and kind of encourage people to go through the program. So these Fretboard Wizard declarations really serve two distinct purposes. And number one is to celebrate what you've just done. When you celebrate something, it helps you feel good about it. When you feel good about the thing that you've done, it turns into a habit. And that's what we want. And the second thing is it helps inspire other people that may be on the fence or that may think that this material is just something they'll never learn. That's not true, and these folks are here to say that. So let's take a listen to Pam S's Fretboard Wizard declaration. Now I want you to notice what she plays, and then I'm going to kind of break it apart here once we're done watching her video. But here's Pam S.
Hi all, this is Pam S., Pam Sir, and I am declaring myself a Fretboard Wizard. The course has been tremendous for someone who's pretty new to guitar, less than a year. It was just a mind-blowing course to be able to kind of pull together all those concepts about chords and keys and scales and tonalities and learn the fretboard. And so I'm delighted with it, and I'm sure I'll be going back and redoing it multiple times to pick up all the nuances that I've missed. So this is my little project. It's in the key of G. It's a 1-5-6 minor 4-1 chord progression, and play it in G and then transpose it to A and play it in A. And I say that with caveats that at this point my dexterity does not match my newfound wizardry, but hopefully I can get through this and you'll get the concept of what I'm working for. So here goes. For me, that wasn't bad at all. So, okay, moving on to A. That's it. Thanks so much, Tony.
So cool to see her play. And one of the things, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a question earlier about bar chords and what to do. And right there, you could see that Pam actually modified the F sharp minor bar chord. When she transposed her song into A, there's an F sharp minor chord. And she made a smaller chunk of a full F sharp minor. And the cool thing is it sounded just as good as a normal F sharp minor does. It was perfect. It fit what she did, and I'm just super excited to see that. To see people saying, okay, yeah, I know what the full bar chord is, but you know what? This tiny chunk works for me, and that's what I'm going to use. So cool to see Pam do that. Not to mention, let's just reflect on what we saw there. So Pam is new to guitar, and in one video, in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, she said, I'm going to play a 1, 5, 6 minor, 4, 1 chord progression. I think I got that right. I'm going to transpose that to the key of G. I'm going to play that in the key of G and transpose it to the key of A. For somebody that's new to guitar, I know for me, sitting in her shoes when I was new to guitar, I didn't know what the hell transpose meant. Somebody said 1, 4, 5, 6 minor P, Q, R, Z to me, I would be like, what are you talking about? That's a foreign language. Not to mention, what is a key in the first place? So to hear somebody that's new to guitar use that language, use it the right way, and be able to play what they learned and what they're talking about is absolutely huge. So congratulations, Pam, on making it through Fretboard Wizard and really applying your stuff and taking that new perspective that you now have of the kind of inner workings of why things work together and bringing it into your guitar journey at an early stage. It's so cool. The next Fretboard Wizard declaration that we're going to take a look at here is from Eric B. And Eric B., I believe this is his third time through the course, and he has an interesting perspective on it as well. So let's go ahead and kick it over to Eric B.
Hello, fellow techers. I'm Eric B. from the Netherlands, and I'm here to declare I'm a Fretboard Wizard again. I think this is the third time I've done this course, and the first time round it taught me that I was in fact able to learn songs by ear. I never ever thought I would be able to do that. And this time round it really helped me to play things like I've just played and know what I'm doing, because I went from an A to a D and then to an E. And it's one of those things I've always wanted to learn, to be able to play some chords, but somehow playing just chords doesn't always sound great. But if you take the Fretboard Wizard course, you learn which chord follows the other and sounds good. So thanks again, Tony, and of course all fellow techers here at the community, this great community. For all the support and all the great stuff you're doing here. Guitar Geeks Unite, and hope to see and hear from you soon.
Awesome job, Eric, and great playing right at the top. And what's cool is to see Pam's video, somebody that's just started their guitar journey, and then move on and see Eric's video, and he's clearly been playing for a while. But to hear him offer the perspective of, I've always wanted to play things like that, and maybe he even could play things like that before, but now he actually knows what he's doing. And that's really cool. It's really cool from the kind of confidence perspective, that kind of internal confidence of like, okay, I'm not just like winging it. I know what I'm doing, and I can. This is the second piece. I can communicate it to someone else. That's one of the other pieces that I think is one of the huge advantages of learning this foundational stuff. And when I say foundational stuff, Fretboard Wizard focuses on the 10% of music theory that you're going to use 90% of the time. Literally, it's not an all things music theory course, and I never wanted it to be an all things music theory course because I just looked at what I use all the time, what I lean on, and it was the same things over and over again. And from there, I could extrapolate other principles, but these core pieces were what really occupied the majority of my kind of music thinking brain. And to hear Eric say, gosh, it's great to say, to be able to play this and know what I'm doing. And as I was kind of getting to earlier, being able to communicate that with someone else. And when somebody says, God, what are you doing? I remember when I was first playing, it's like, I don't know, fingers here, the pinky does the little wheel thing, and that's what happens. It sounds neat. Later on, I was like, oh, when I add the pinky, it creates a different chord technically, and that's why it sounds different. And I now know why it sounds different. And that's what Eric's communicating there. So thank you for submitting that, Eric. I really appreciate that. And also that perspective on what the course can still offer you the second, third, fourth time around, And once you have the Fretboard Wizard course, you can go through it as many times as you wish. It's all yours, and you can still go through it even after this rat party is done if you want to. That's completely up to you, and whatever works best for your guitar journey. I want to open up the floor for some questions. Some of you may have some questions still left over from the Fretboard Wizard course. If that is the case, please hashtag question in the comments, and I'll go ahead and answer those. But in the meantime, while the questions are coming in, let me do another giveaway, shall we? I'm going to pop on over to my random number generator here, and I'm going to just shift gears. I'm going to give away 2 different Acoustic Tuesday sweatshirts. So let me see. The first one is going to go to number 69 came up, Michelle D. Michelle D, you've won yourself an Acoustic Tuesday hooded sweatshirt. Congratulations to you. I'm actually typing who wins what right now because sometimes when these are over, I have a bunch of handwritten notes, like Post-it notes everywhere. Not good for organization. So Michelle D, congratulations to you. I'll give you a round of applause here. And then let's go ahead and give away another Acoustic Tuesday hooded sweatshirt. I'm going to generate another random number. Number 53, Cal McMillan. Congratulations to you. You've won yourself an Acoustic Tuesday hooded sweatshirt. Congratulations. Oops, I'm typing on one computer, and it's not going on this computer. Too many devices. Way too many devices. And I'll give away 2 more hats. How about that? Let's give away 2 more hats. So let's see. Number 50. This is going to go to Doc Bob. Congratulations, Doc Bob. You've won yourself an Acoustic Tuesday. I'm sorry, not an Acoustic Tuesday hat. Tony's Acoustic Challenge hat with the ever important mantra of be nice and play guitar on the front. It may or may not get you a free coffee. I can't guarantee. It did for me, but I can't guarantee that. It's just a disclaimer. It just may or may not. The next, I'm going to hit the number generator one more time. It's hovering in the 50s and 60s, and we need to go out on the ends of the spectrum here. Number 2, wow, okay, that's a very distinct end of the spectrum. David W. won himself a hat as well. Congratulations, David W. Super happy for you that you can sport the ever important mantra of be nice and play guitar around town or wherever you find yourself traveling. So that'll be it for the giveaways right now. I've got a couple more giveaways coming up. I'm going to give away 2 more I'm going to give away the first 2 lifetime Tony's Acoustic Challenge memberships, and I'll give away that Waterloo WL14 here in a moment. Now, I have to say this. The odds are extremely good. As I mentioned, to get into this giveaway contest, you had to submit a video. And as of this morning, I just want to reveal these odds. I wish we would have had more videos, but I understand the holidays and just general craziness can kind of get in the way. But to win a Waterloo WL14, you have a 1 in 81 chance. 1 in 81. That's really good. I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sure it's good. It sounds good. I'm not a math guy. I'm just not. Excuse me. Chris T asks a great question. I'm going to get to a couple questions here. We learned the major scale and how to play it in a minor key, talking about the major and its relative minor. So what is different with the other scale types, like a blues scale? Where can I learn more about other scales? Other scales are all a derivative of the major scale. Let me just say that. So kind of zooming way out here, the reason Fretboard Wizard focuses on the major scale is because that lays the foundation for every scale that you'll learn from that point forward, be it a minor scale, a Lydian scale, a Dorian scale, an Aeolian scale, all the other modes. It's all different tweaks on the major scale. In fact, not really necessarily even different tweaks. It's just a different starting point. So that's kind of why I focus so hard on the major scale, because that will inform all of those other scales. And the same is true for the blues scale, okay? So often we hear about the pentatonic scale. And let me just go ahead and play that real quick for you. And it's just a modification. Pentatonic, penta is 5, right? So if we think of the pentatonic scale, just real quick, I'm going to kind of explain this. The pentatonic or blues scale, sorry, I don't want to back up from the desk so I don't hit my guitar like I just did. The pentatonic or the minor pentatonic or blues scale only contains 5 notes. We know that the major scale contains 7 notes. We know that the minor scale contains 7 notes. How do we get away with only playing 5 notes? Well, this 5-note scale, think of it like this. I've often drawn this parallel, and I don't know if it'll land, but it's fun to say. Think of the Grateful Dead. Okay, whether you're a Grateful Dead fan or not, it's no question that they have a gazillion albums out, right? They've got all the studio albums. They got all these different live concerts recorded. It's cool, in my opinion. It's not for everybody. I get it. The major scale, or any 7-note scale for that matter, is like buying all of those albums. The pentatonic scale is like buying one greatest hits album. The pentatonic scale essentially targets the 5 notes that are the greatest hits, that work the most, that have less of an emotional charge. Okay, so the pentatonic scale, we have for G, minor pentatonic scale, we have G, B flat, C, D, and then we have F and G. So G, B flat, C, D, F, G. What makes that a minor pentatonic is that we have a flat third and we have a flat 7. Those are kind of the bluesy notes. Okay. That's it. That's the blues scale, right? The minor pentatonic scale. There's other notes that you can add to it. So this is the thing. And one of the reasons that I feel it's so important to understand and truly have intimate knowledge of the major scale and how everything grows from it, because all other scales are a modification, right? The pentatonic scale is a simple 5-note scale, but we're just taking the notes that are not as emotionally charged and combining them all together. It's the safest scale to use. In fact, within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, there's a program called 30 Days to Play. It's for new guitar players, and there's a soloing lesson. You might be thinking, okay, soloing? How? I'm a new guitar player. Soloing is not in my realm. It actually is, and I use the pentatonic scale or the blues scale for that very reason, because it's very safe. You can play any sort of blues rhythm and solo over it with those 5 notes, and it'll sound good. Right? So that's the reason why that pentatonic scale exists. And if you look at any other scale through the framework of this, how has the major scale been modified to achieve this? Then you'll actually get the recipe for that scale. So if I say, okay, minor pentatonic scale, I've got the root, flat third, I've got the 4th, the 5th, flat 7, and then I'm back at the root. That gives you a universal rule for any scale, any minor pentatonic scale in any key, right? I could take it up to A. It's the same recipe. Root, minor third, 4, 5, flat 7, root. So again, I feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but the point is to understand the major scale in such a way that you know that every scale is derived from it. Every mode is derived from it. It's just an alteration of that major scale. And if you can make that connection, it really will unlock the world of modes. It will unlock the world of pentatonic scales like we discussed, and really any other scale that you'll run into, even a chromatic scale, which contains all 12 notes. So awesome question, Chris. And I hope I touched on that in such a way to where you could say, oh, okay, that answers my question, and I can take it a little bit further. I hope that's the case. If not, let me know in the questions or in the comments. Sorry. Dan S. has a question. I can't figure out when to use the cage system in conjunction with regular chords. And I'm so glad you asked this question. This is one of the most frequently asked questions. You know, if I was to ask, anybody here, how many of you looked at the cage system and thought, that's cool, but when am I going to use that? What do I use that even for? Because when you look at a chord, a bar chord specifically, that looks like this. I'll get this out of the way there. That's not the most practical bar chord in the world. I never use this bar chord. But it's part of the cage system, so shouldn't I use it? Not necessarily, because you can look at caged in 2 different ways. So caged is a way of mapping your guitar neck in such a way that it breaks it up into 5 chunks. Think of it as think of the caged framework as a way to organize your guitar neck. It's a filing system for your guitar neck, right? For each chord shape, there's an associated scale shape. And I'll go through those here in a second, but I want to explain this first. Not everything in caged is necessarily easy to use. And that's okay, especially if you look at it through the perspective of this is a framework for me to chunk out the neck. It's a framework for me to break up the neck into 5 distinct areas, so it's a little bit more manageable. I know when I first started playing, I would look at the guitar neck and I'd be like, okay, frets 1 through 3, you guys are my buds. I'm gonna hang with you guys. Everything else is mystery zone. I don't know what happens up there. Cage system kind of breaks that wall down. Again, it's a filing system for your guitar to organize it into 5 distinct categories. So yes, you get chord shapes, and you get this notion of how chord shapes actually attach to one another and how they lay out across the neck, but by no means do you have to use every chord shape. The G chord shape in a closed position, the one that I just played on guitar, is not convenient. I can use bits and pieces, and I enjoy that, and I do that. But the full chord shape, I'm going to let that one go by the wayside. It's too complicated, and it makes guitar kind of not fun. I'm not saying it's not useful, but in terms of application, it's better to know that it exists for me and not use the full thing. That being said, let me show you the cage system and how it lays out in terms of a filing system. So we know, let's just talk about what we know. We know that caged is a way to map out the guitar neck. It's a description of chord shapes across the neck. So if I'm looking for all the C chords that I'm going to encounter on the guitar neck, I'll start on C. Caged, the actual word caged. The next letter is A, so I know that I'm going to have an A-shaped C chord next, and lo and behold, there it is. Caged, C-A-G. I know that my next chord shape for C, my next C chord, I should say, is a G shape. It looks like that. Consult caged again. Okay, caged, C-A-G-E is the next one. I know that the next C chord is an E shape. And the last letter of caged is a D, and I know that that final chord, I'll make the full one for posterity, is D-shaped C. Okay. Cool, I know all these C chords. Great, what am I going to play all these in one song? Not necessarily. But you know that they're there, and you can see the 5 distinct areas, right? You have, frets 1 through 3, 3 through 5. This one's a little bit of a stretch. You've got 5 through 8, 8 through 10, and then 10 through 12, 13 technically. That's great for chords, but that's really all that cage does? Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty convenient. It breaks it into those chunks, but not only do those chunks contain a chord shape, they contain a corresponding scale. That's the C one, the A one, right? So now we're really breaking the neck into these chunks and seeing that not only do we have a chord accessible anywhere on the neck, we actually have a scale. So we have this wonderful way to pair a chord shape with a scale shape, and that's what you're going to see. There's a add-on material to the improvisation section of the Fretboard Wizard course that shows you all of those scale shapes. Once you make that connection, it truly will unlock the guitar neck. And I'm not joking, but I'm also saying that through the lens of just because caged exists and all these options are available to you doesn't mean that you have to use all those options. It's nice to know that they're there, but use the ones that make sense for you. If you love bar chords, well, you just opened up a whole new world of all these chord modifications that you can make. If you don't love bar chords, you can use caged in conjunction with a capo, and it can be just as potent. And more importantly, caged can inform how you solo and approach which scale shape you use. So there's a lot of information in cage. It's just a matter of looking at it in the right way. And it's really, in a way, it's almost less about caged being, can I make all these shapes? And really more about being, okay, all these shapes are there. Which ones play into where I'm at? Which ones can I use? Which ones do I want to use? Which ones sound good? Which ones are comfortable to make? So I hope that question was answered thoroughly enough. I've got a couple more questions here. Ian M. Still have a problem with fat fingertips that deaden open strings. 2 months and still challenge. Any guidance? I see people with bigger hands doing so well. Yes, this is one of the most overlooked tips that I think exists, but it's one that will help you clean up those chords. So oftentimes we start making chords. I'm going to pick on the C chord again. Sorry, I keep moving this microphone. Pick on the C chord. You know, we're reaching over a lot of strings. A lot of those strings need to be open, and sometimes it sounds like this. We get that thuddy noise, and it's depressing. It stinks, right? We don't want our chords to sound like that. We want our chords to ring and sound really good. So one of the things, there's 2 tips I'll actually offer here. First and foremost is I want you to fret on your fingertips. Think of climbing a mountain. Whether you've done it or not, you don't want to grab hold of the rock with the pads of your fingers, right? You're going to slip off, you're going to fall, it's going to be bad. Rather, you want to dig in with the fingertips. That'll give you a nice solid way to climb up a mountain. It's clear I've never climbed a mountain, but I can imagine grabbing things like this, you'd fall. Anyways, so with your fingertips, that will allow you the best contact with actually with the minimal effort. And it will allow for clearance of those strings that will need to be open. The second tip, and this one will have probably the biggest impact, is think of your attack angle on the strings. If our fretting hand palm is far away from the neck, look at what that does. It flattens out my fingers. I get a bunch of muted notes. The closer I bring that palm to the guitar neck, the more arch is introduced into my fingers, and the more room I have for those strings that need to be open. So fret on your fingertips and move your fretting hand palm closer to the bottom of the neck. It'll introduce more arch in your fingers, and you might access a little bit more clarity out of those chords that you're struggling with. Awesome question. Great question. William S. says, is that minor pentatonic the blues scale or a scale that is used in blues? I thought the blues scale has a flat 5. Yes, it does. So William is talking about that scale I was referencing earlier, which is the minor pentatonic scale, 5-note scale. Oh, sorry. Right. Now he's saying, wait, I thought the blues scale had a flat 5. Yes, the technical definition of the blues scale that is that it contains a flat 7, a flat 5, and a flat 3. Okay. To keep things tidy, I like to say the minor pentatonic is the blues scale. I use that interchangeably, even though it's not technically correct, because those 5 notes really offer the safest route for anybody to improvise with. When you introduce the flat 5, it's kind of it really functions better as a passing tone, meaning going from one note to another. Right? Then it is a very bluesy note, and that's why it's a part of the technically correct blues scale. But that's a good call, William, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's really important. You know, sometimes when I'm talking, I maybe throw some of the technicalities out the window just for ease of communication. But I appreciate you saying that. And for those that saying, wait, I thought the blues scale had flat 5th. Absolutely. Blues scale, flat 3rd, flat 5th, flat 7th. But again, just in us discussing it, we're referring to how the blues scale manifests based on the alterations to the major scale, which brings me back to my original point of everything is based on alterations to the major scale. And if you can really look at other scales through that, it's a pretty powerful thing. Awesome questions. Love it. I see another question here from Kathy P. I'm actually going to get to that here in a moment. I'm going to save that for our next round of questions. So if you still have questions, please put them in the comments, #question. But I want to dig into a couple Fretboard Wizard declarations here. Two more. One from Patrick F. and one from Zaina W. And one of these, we'll look at them first before I start gushing on these folks. I'm just super proud of everybody that's gone through the program, and to go out on a limb and share your experience, I think is really awesome, and it can really help out a lot of folks. And this next one we're going to look at comes from Patrick F. And I'll talk about his declaration after we see it. But first, let's kick it on over to Patrick F. and hear about his experience in Fretboard Wizard.
Hey everybody, this is my Fretboard Wizard declaration. I just finished the Fretboard Wizard course for the first time. And as such, I am not prepared to call myself a wizard yet. But I am comfortable saying that I know I'm on the right path. And I'm happy to be on that path. Before starting the Fretboard Wizard course, my biggest fear was that the course itself would be too advanced for somebody like me, a relative beginner. It was really meant for people more accomplished and more proficient on the guitar than I am. But to the contrary, I found that the course is geared towards players of all levels. it did help when I signed up for Fretboard Wizard that I also took advantage of the opportunity to sign up for Tony's Acoustic Challenge at the same time. And as a relative beginner, being able to use the Fretboard Wizard platform in conjunction with the TAC platform and use those materials together really helped me get the most out of both programs. They really complement each other well. As for the Fretboard Wizard course itself, the core materials are presented in such a way that they are easily understandable. I will add a good pointer that I have, something I learned along the way, is make sure you take advantage of the Q&A materials that are an essential part of the course. It took me a couple of chapters before I really paid attention to those materials, and it was through one of my interactions with a fellow TAC member through the chat pages that they pointed me in the direction of the Q&A materials, and that's when I started to really focus on them. And I learned that Tony really reinforces the concepts that are introduced in the core chapters, but also gives some really invaluable nuggets, extra gems in those hour-long Q&A sessions. So make sure you pay attention to those as well. Being exposed to this course, learning principles that can be so broadly applied and that form the foundation of music, has certainly added to the joy that I find in the pursuit of becoming a true guitar player, a musician. To any who are on the fence, if you're a beginner like me, relative beginner, don't be intimidated. On the other hand, if you've been playing for many, many years, don't make the mistake of thinking that you can't learn something from this course still. Either way, it's well worth the price of admission. Thanks.
Awesome, Patrick. Thank you for that. You know, one of the there was a lot to unpack there, but one of the things that I thought was really cool that Patrick offered some perspective on was using Fretboard Wizard in conjunction with the daily challenges in Tony's Acoustic Challenge, because a lot of Tony's Acoustic Challenge members got Fretboard Wizard and vice versa. A lot of people who got Fretboard Wizard became Tony's Acoustic Challenge members. And the question comes up so often, what do? I got Fretboard Wizard, I got these daily challenges, I don't want to fall behind. What's the best course of action? I'll say this, the daily challenges will always be there, and you can't fall behind. It's not we're so I'm programmed the same way, but I think we're so programmed to either be on track, off track, pass, fail, good, bad, and it's really not a black and white situation here. If you feel the questions that you're asking are pulling you in a direction that Fretboard Wizard can answer, follow that, because your curiosity will lead you to the lessons that you need to learn, that you want to learn at that point in time. There's no have-tos here. But Patrick hit the nail on the head in that the Fretboard Wizard material informed the daily challenges, and they puzzle piece together quite well. And they really do. It's nice to be able to go into the daily challenge and look at a lick and say, okay, that's in the key of D. I see why that's in the key of D, and I see why that resolves on a D chord, because leading up to it, we had a D and an F sharp and an A. If you didn't take Fretboard Wizard, you might not make that connection. And that's still okay, but when you are asking yourself questions of why things work the way they do in terms of music, that's the direction you should take your learning in the Fretboard Wizard. And then you can come back and say, oh, I get why things work the way they do because it's using chord tones, and clearly that lick works. And the same is true for the Wednesday improvisation, any sort of chord transition work we do, any sort of rhythm guitar work we do within a chord progression. You can start to make these connections of, oh, I see these chords together again. Guess what? They're in the same key, and I know where these chords come from. In fact, I even know the notes that are within each of these chords. So great perspective, Patrick. I can't say thank you enough for that. That was a really well thought out Fretboard Wizard declaration, and really nice to hear that, you know, it really helped your journey as well. So thanks, Patrick, and congratulations going through the course. The next Fretboard Wizard declaration we're going to have a look at is from Zaina W. And we'll talk about her declaration, but let's kick it over to her first and hear what she has to say.
Hi, TAC community. Hi, Tony. Today I have to say that I am a Fretboard Wizard. I did it. I can't believe it. And that is probably the biggest thing that held me back, was believing that I might not be able to do it. But I persisted, and I followed the process, trusting in Tony and sticking to a 10-minute routine every day, no matter whether I felt like it or not. I would go right to the Fretboard Wizard lessons and just dig in. It wasn't always easy, but it was fun after each lesson was completed. Anyway, so definitely moving forward, and it's a step of 1,000-mile journey, as they say, and boy, I'm just speechless actually. So thank you for listening, and be seeing you around on campus. Yes, and the final project song will follow this video. I'm not sure about the second song. It's not quite as strong as the first one, but anyway. All right, thanks everybody. Woohoo! Wizard!
So cool to see. Thank you so much for submitting that, Zaina. And one of the things, I think the thing that stood out the most is her initial apprehension going in, thinking, okay, this is going to be way over my head. I don't even know if I belong in this course or if I'm going to understand any of it. And what did she meet that with? She met that with a routine. She'd log into Fretboard Wizard 10 minutes a day, whether she wanted to or not. She said it right there. And I think that really, it shows two things. Number one, it shows the power of routine, because here she is submitting a declaration and feeling good about the stuff that she's learned. And she said it herself, you know, this is one step in a 1,000-mile journey. And I think that's true for all of us, regardless of where we're at. But the fact is, she took the step. She set her apprehension aside and said, this is something I want to do. Let's give it a shot. What do I have to lose? She did it. And she's reaping the benefits. And not only does she have this newfound knowledge, and I'm not saying she has all the dots connected, because none of us do. We can't ever know everything about guitar, but we can certainly better our knowledge day in and day out. And I think one of the cool connection that just hit me as I was watching that again was the fact that she leaned on a routine to get her through the program, and that actually ultimately benefited her in a huge, huge way. Not only learning things, but having fun. As she said, when the lessons were over, it turned out to be fun. I don't know if that was more of a celebration that, oh, that day's over. But it was really cool to get that account. Thank you so much, Zaina. Very much appreciate that. Now, a couple of things I want to ask of you watching right now. For you Fretboard Wizardians, Fretboard Wizard alums now, I guess I can say. Fretboard Wizardians? What am I create? What word is that? Wizard? I don't know. Sorry, I'm going to have a swig of coffee real quick. That's better. I meant to say Fretboard Wizard alumni. So I want to get to a couple more questions. I saw a few questions popping around. So I'll get to those. And again, hashtag question if you have a question in the comments. But I also, at this point in time, since the questions are slowing down a little bit, please, at this point in time in the comments, if you had a light bulb moment during the Fretboard Wizard course, if you had a small win during the Fretboard Wizard course, share it with me. In the comments, put hashtag small win and go ahead and describe your small win. Maybe it's the fact that you finally understood what goes into chords. Maybe you now have a little bit more of an understanding of how to select notes when you solo. So go at whatever the small win is. It could be a monstrous small win. It could be a minute small win. Small wins of minutia, small wins of monstrosities are all welcome. Whatever the case may be, put hashtag small win and share it with us. I'll go through and read those here in a little bit. And upcoming, I do have, we are giving away 2 lifetime memberships and a Waterloo WL14 guitar that's on my hot list. Hopefully Whitney's watching this and she can be like, oh, Waterloo WL14, Christmas is coming up. Maybe he's hinting at it an awful lot. Might be pushing my luck. I'm probably pushing my luck. I probably shouldn't mention that anymore. Anyways. All right, let me hit a couple questions. Again, get those small wins in the comments, hashtag small win. Once I get through with these questions, we'll give away that guitar, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. But I should say this while I have a lot of folks on. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I thoroughly enjoy these lives that we do, the Q&A portion, interacting with you all, the laughs, the goof ups, and just the kind of inspiration and passion we can all share within our own unique guitar journeys. It really, I kind of come away from these lives, personally, I come away from these lives invigorated, reinvigorated, and it makes me excited about what we're doing here. And we're having fun, which brings focus to our guitar journey, which ultimately equates in progress. And it's the most wonderful recipe. If you have fun, you play guitar every day. If you play guitar every day, well, you have to focus and you get better. And it's just this wonderful recipe that's an ongoing thing that we can all bring to our guitar journeys. Let me go ahead and sink in a couple of these questions. I'm going to go back to Kathy P's question, which I thought was awesome. I kept reading it out of the corner of my eye, and I think it's just a stellar question. Kathy P asks, if you use the first, third, and fifth notes of the major scale to construct a chord matrix for that key, which notes do you use to construct a matrix for the minor key? This is a great question, and the answer is the first, the third, and the fifth. Let me explain. I've got my trusty whiteboard. I almost mixed up the markers earlier. I almost used this marker on the whiteboard. That wouldn't have went well at all. So let's just go ahead, and I'm not going to construct. Well, yeah, I will. I'll do this quickly. I was going to say I'm not going to construct a matrix for each, but that's the question. I may as well answer the question. So if we're talking about, hopefully you all can hear me still, and I'll move the mic accordingly once I think it's getting in the way here. So if we're constructing a chord matrix in a major key, we need the major scale, and we need to isolate the first, the third, and the fifth. Okay, so let's pick on C. It's nice and neat. It doesn't have any sharps or flats. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We can all agree that that is indeed a major scale. Cool. Well, we just need to isolate the first, third, and the fifth. And we can just count to do that. The first note, second, third, fourth, fifth. So to construct the chord matrix, we have our first row. Our second row, we're going to start on E, use the same exact notes. I'm not introducing sharps. I'm not introducing flats. I'm using the same notes. I'm just starting on E. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And the same thing is true for the next row. I'm going to start on G, and I'm going to just recite the notes. No sharps, no flats, nothing new. Just same notes starting on G, ending on G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is a major chord matrix for the key of C major. Let's take a look at a minor key chord matrix, right? And this is, again, I just want to, before I dig into the minor key, sorry, this microphone sounds good when it's close, but it gets in the way. Before I dig into the minor key, the reason I stress the major key so much is if we kind of keep thinking, okay, how is what I'm learning related to the major key? How is what I'm learning related to the major scale, the major chord matrix? We can start basing our knowledge on alterations to the major key, meaning we don't have to remember what makes major and minor. We just have to remember the major and simply the alterations, right? It kind of limits the quantity of things we have to remember, but it makes the things that we are remembering or memorizing much more potent because we can kind of work outwards from those things we're remembering. So C major chord matrix. Awesome. Love it. Let's take a key, A minor. Okay. Great. So we have A minor. And one of the things, I'm kind of cheating a little bit here because I know for a fact that the natural minor scale is based on the musical alphabet starting on A and ending on A. That's what gives me the minor scale recipe, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now I'm about to draw a parallel here to the major scale, but we'll get there in a second. So the question Kathy asks is, okay, so if I have a minor key with a minor scale, what notes do I need to create a minor chord matrix? And my answer was the first, the third, and the fifth. Let's see how this lays out. First, third, fifth. Same exact process as the major key. I'm just doing it in a minor key. Nothing new here. I'm going to start on C. I'm going to move to C. Again, I'm not adding sharps or flats. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. What did I do wrong? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, I started on A. Sorry, I had to add that last little bit. So that's our row based on the third. Now our row based on the fifth. Again, same thing. E. Same notes. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that's our minor chord matrix for the key of A minor. Well, one of the things I want you to notice is the chords contained in each. ACE, that's an A minor. BDF, that's a B diminished. CEG, C major. DFA, D minor. EGB, E minor. FAC, F major. GBD, G major. And then we repeat at the A minor again. Well, let's take a look at the major chord matrix. We have, I kind of did this goofy. We have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then it starts over again. Let me ask you this. What's different about these two keys? And the answer is the starting point. It's all that's different. Chords are the same. We have a C major in the key of C major. We have a C major in the key of A minor. D minor, D minor, E minor, E minor, F major, F major, G major, G major, A minor, B diminished, B diminished. Are there any different notes? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. No sharps or flats. They're all natural notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps or flats. The beautiful thing is that if we make the connection that the major chord matrix unlocks the relative minor chord matrix, we don't need to know anything else. We don't even have to do the minor chord matrix. But if you want to, it is based on the first, third, and fifth, as long as you're starting with the natural minor scale. It's an awesome question, and one that I remember first learning that and thinking, I remember the first thought I had was, there's no way it's this simple. This quite honestly, there's no way. There's got to be some hidden thing I'm missing because it can't be this easy. And the reality is it is. You just have to slowly work towards those connections. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's simple. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Whatever that cliche phrase is, it's really true. It's the understanding behind it that takes a little bit. But once you build that trust, like every major key has a relative minor, you can really start to kind of hash out what you really need to focus your memorization on, for lack of a better term. Let's see. Bob K asked another question. Excuse me. Hi, everybody. Tony, I think you might have just answered this, but you mentioned somewhere that you thought each chord, example A, had to use the A scale. Were you implying that the scale you can use is the Cage scale, or is there another that can be used? This is so Bob is referring to, I think at one of the lessons within Fretboard Wizard, when I was first learning how to solo, I thought, okay, key of G chord, I got to play the G scale. When it moves to the D chord, I got to play the D scale. That's not true. That's what I thought. That was the pitfall that I kind of fell for. If a song is in the key of G, regardless of what chord you're on, you'll be playing in a G major scale if the key is in G major. Your note selection of the 7 notes in G major will reflect the chord that you're on, right? So you're not switching scales, you're switching your focus on the notes. And let me show you an example. So I'll use that G example again. So if I'm playing in the key of G, G, D, C, E minor. So G, C, D, E minor. I'm going to be playing a G scale throughout that whole thing. But when I'm on a G chord, I'll be spending the majority of my time on G, B, and D. I won't just be doing that. Although that's what bass players sometimes do. Anyways, that's not a shot at bass players. But I'm reflecting in my solo what chord is happening by referencing those chord tones. I'm not only going to play the chord tones, but I'll hint at them. I'll do something like this. All over a G chord. Something along those lines. When it moves to a C, I'm going to focus on C, E, and G. Again, still part of the G major scale, but I've shifted my focus to the chord tones of C major, C, E, and G. Same thing is true for D. I'm going to shift my focus to chord tones, still playing in the G major scale, but focusing on D, F sharp, and A. Same thing is true for E minor. I'll be focusing on the notes E, G, and B, right? Chord tones. I'm still playing the G major scale through all of that, but my focus is going to be on the chord tones that make up the chord that the song is on. I'm not only going to play the chord tones, but I'm going to reference them often because those hint at the chord that's happening. Awesome question, Bob. And one of the things that, when I feel like I'm kind of walking down memory lane a little bit, but soloing had always just mystified me so much. And again, it was one of those moments when I learned what I just shared with you. I thought, that's it? Just focus on the chord tones? Okay, so if I'm focusing on 3 notes when I'm playing a solo over any given chord, how can there be so many solos and how can they sound so different? Well, factor in, again, we're not just playing chord tones, we're referencing them often, but factor in note selection. That's just one element of playing a solo. You've got rhythm. If you factor in rhythm, you can have infinite combinations of even the same 3 notes. Case in point, same 2 notes even. If I'm playing over a G chord and I'm just playing G and B, I could simply go, that's fine. It's pretty one-dimensional, but we could also do, or we could go, oh, I'm sorry. So when you factor in rhythm, and even, that's just one element, accents and other types of things, actual tone things that produce different tones. Just factoring in rhythm gives you already infinite options, even in just 2 notes. So that's why 7 simple notes of a major scale can produce such a wide array of music. Because when you factor in rhythm, all of a sudden the doors blow wide open. You have infinite options at your fingertips. Which is so cool and kind of a neat concept. It's maybe a little bit more philosophical than technical, but something to certainly think about. Excuse me, Dave A. I'm losing my voice, everybody. Dave A. asked the question: is there a good lesson on different types of strumming? I seem to always fall back on what's comfortable. You and me both, Dave. There is a lesson in one of the courses within, I think it's in stage 2 within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. That's a strumming. It's either called a strumming boot camp or strumming jumpstart. And what that does is it looks at pick direction and how you can harness that to create different rhythm patterns. And I think I would speak for all guitarists to say we kind of have this comfortable operating area, our kind of base mode operating strumming pattern that makes us feel good, that allows us to sing with things if they're brand new. And being able to start pushing those edges with different strumming patterns is something that's a true asset to your guitar playing. And I think taking that course will at least allow you to start looking at it from the point of, okay, it's not about accumulating strumming patterns that I need to remember. It's about harnessing the power of pick direction and pick control to create strumming patterns that make sense, that are comfortable for me, that are different than what I'm used to. So that's a course that I would recommend, Dave, and something that I actually think there's a YouTube video out there that I created as well on that same topic. So keep that in mind if you come across that. Kraz asked the question. This is my, Kraz. I wanted to take a moment. Sorry. It just dawned on me. Kraz sent me the coolest gift ever, and I brought it home, and I left it at home because I put a bunch of picks in it. Kraz, I'll bring it for our next live. Kraz, huge thank you for sending me that. Thalia, are you familiar with Thalia capos? They do a lot of different types of things and engraving and whatnot and inlay. Well, Kraz sent me a pick tin that has a beautiful wooden top on it, and inlaid in the top is a pearl, the pearl shape of a pick, and imprinted on the pick it says Guitar Geek Goalie. And as soon as I opened the package, I had a huge smile on my face, and I opened it up, and there's actually wooden picks in there that say the same thing, Guitar Geek Goalie. Kraz and I share a little bit of a special bond because we're both guitar geeks, we both love hockey, and we both happen to be goalies as well. So he's way up there in Oshawa, where the Oshawa Generals play, and it was just so cool to get that. It really made my day, and I wanted to thank you, and I'm sorry that I totally spaced it. I left it at home, but it was awesome. It made my day. But on to Cros's question, Tony, if you think your song is in a minor key, but the chord progression doesn't quite fit, but works in a major scale, is that okay? The song in writing doesn't have a dominant C note in it, but the key of C is the only key that all my chords work in. This kind of goes into some of this zooming out to a bigger philosophy. We understand the rules of music so that we can consciously break them. I know that sounds a little weird. I'm pretty sure a famous artist said that. Maybe Van Gogh, maybe some other guy. Van Gogh was the guy with one. He only had one ear, right? He chopped off one of his ears. Maybe it was another artist. I don't remember. Somebody said something really great and pithy about how you need to know the rules so you can break them. Same thing applies here. There are songs that are in a certain key. For example, it could be in the key of C major. It might not even contain a C major chord. This is a rarity. Okay? But occasionally songs will start on a chord that is not the one chord. And that's totally okay. And this might be what you're running into, Cross. This happens a lot with A minor. It happens a lot with the relative minor and the major. I was going to be specific, but it's sometimes hard to distinguish between the two. Ultimately, though, I think you're noting, pun intended, noting. I think you're noting what actually is a great little learning moment here in that sometimes we go through our methods of finding things by ear and it doesn't quite play out. But we can at least find a scale that works. Well, if you find yourself continuously resolving to one note or playing a certain scale, chances are the song is in that key. If the song is, it's got an F and a G and an A minor and an E minor and maybe a C thrown in there, but only briefly, but you find yourself landing on a C note and it makes sense more often than not through the entire song, chances are that song is in the key of C major. It's just that the chord progression is maybe a little funky. And it doesn't follow the exact technical rules, and that's totally okay. But a great observation because, the frameworks that you learn in Fretboard Wizard will work 90% of the time. There is that 10% of oddball songs. Like, if you look at anything like progressive rock or anything like that, there's a lot there's layers upon layers of theory, all based in what you learn in Fretboard Wizard, but some of those same frameworks, you're going to look at a song and it's like, what is happening here? And sometimes it's better to break those songs up into pieces because they go through modulations where they do key changes or things like that. So great observation, Cross, and I'm glad you stumbled into stuff like that. And that's what I'm talking about with that pendulum piece. When you when you stumble into questions like that, a little Guitar Geek flag goes up on your radar that says, oh, why is that? And it pulls you back over to that theoretical, conceptual side. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's not a dead end. It's not a dead end for Cross. He simply asked the question. And I said, sometimes those frameworks don't follow everything to a T, and that's okay. But if you find the note that works, chances are it is that key. And it sounds like he did that very thing. So again, it's just another example of that pendulum of, okay, I'm running into a question. Doesn't mean it's the end of my journey here. And it doesn't mean that I can't do it. It just simply means I need to ask the question and dig a little bit deeper or take it to the other side of the pendulum and learn more. Awesome questions, everyone. I want to dig into some small wins, and I'm going to split up this last giveaway into two different sections. I'm going to give away 2 lifetime memberships first, and then I'll recite some small wins because I did see quite a few coming in. And then I'll give away the Waterloo WL14. I got to drag it out because part of me just wants to hold on to the guitar. I don't have it, but Whitney, if you wanted to put that under the Christmas tree, I wouldn't complain. Whitney, if you're watching. So let me give away 2 lifetime memberships right now. I'm going to head over to my random number generator here. I've got it set up for a lifetime membership. Let me go ahead and generate 78, way high on the list. Nancy D, congratulations to you. You've won yourself a TAC lifetime membership. Congratulations. You're now a lifer. You've got a life sentence of Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And really interesting note on that. Come this next year, it looks like 2021 is going to be an interesting year for Tony's Acoustic Challenge. We're going to get a new look And I think TAC members are going to be absolutely delighted. I've seen some previews. The previews are getting more towards completion, and it's getting really exciting. It looks really good. And one of the things that actually stood out to me that I want to mention, because anything new, I know when I get a new update on my phone, I'm like, oh God, really? I just got used to this last one. Why are you updating it again? This update actually is simplifying navigation in a huge way. Is one of the striking things when I was going through the previews and going through the working site, the working preview site, work site, whatever they call it. I'm not a tech guy. I just go through and play with it and try and break stuff. It was hard to break. It was actually really easy to navigate. So I'm super excited for that. I wanted to throw that little news nugget in there. Let's give away another TAC lifetime membership. Let me just pull up the number generator here. Oh, this is great. This is so much fun. Thank you all for sharing your time with me today. Number 37 is the number, and Linda G. Looks like Linda G has won herself a TAC lifetime membership, which is awesome. Congratulations, Linda G. Give you a round of applause there. You are now a lifetime member, given a life sentence to Tony's Acoustic Challenge, lovingly referred to as a TAC lifer. Sorry if that blew out your speakers. I don't think I adjusted the level. Maybe I did. Maybe. Ta-da! Lifetime memberships, just giving them away. Anyways, okay, let me dig into a couple small wins here. I am on the cusp of giving a Waterloo WL14 away. I'm just going to go through a couple of small ones here, and there are a boatload. So I'm going to just rattle these off, and I'll try and keep it tight. I'm going to do my best. I promise I'll do my best. Trevor R., small win. I was able to noodle on my guitar for 30 plus minutes without stopping or thinking about what I was playing. Love it, love it. That's called a guitar time warp. You entered it, and now that you've done it once, the chances of you entering the time warp again are incredible. Let's do the guitar warp again. I think somebody should write a song about that. Anyways, Mark B., small win. Mark B., small win. Appreciation for the creation of songs is all about the chord matrix. I had no idea before Fretboard Wizard. Very cool. The chord matrix is indeed super powerful. Dave A., small win. You made the cage system make sense. I have tried for years to figure it out. Thank you. You're welcome, Dave, and thank you for putting in the time to try and understand the cage system, because it can unlock quite a bit of stuff. Kevin P., small win. I had a light bulb moment when I realized how the notes were made up in a chord. I used to just trust the shape, but now I know why that is the right chord shape. Very cool. Eric B., small win. There is a logic to combining major and minor chords. Indeed. Kevin, small win. In a major scale, 2, 3, and 6 are minor. Indeed. Chris A., my small win was being able to get the songs key by ear. It is awesome. I was showing off to my wife with that the other day. She called me a dork. Chris, you're not alone. Whitney calls me a dork frequently. Mainly around the guitar topics that I'm excited about. So I'm glad we can share that. And I'm sure there's plenty of other guitar geeks that are tuned in right now whose significant others called them a dork for one guitar-related reason or another. Pam S., small win. The chord matrix opened up so much info and knowledge for me. Light bulbs galore. Love to hear that. Chuck S. from the Jersey Shore, small win. Based on an answer that one of the TAC lifers provided, the total value of the chord matrix and the things that just fall out of it hit me. Cool. I love it. John S., I almost read that as John 5. You know you're a guitar geek when you start reading Guitar Heroes names in other names. Small win. Caged came into a little clearer focus. There is so much more to learn, but I'm having fun. Love it. Fun is paramount to your journey. Mark B., small win. Scale construction. Puppy Doc, small win. I can now do my own transposing and understand how and why. Nolan R., now I know the relation of the blues scale to the major scale. I love it. And it's also just great to hear that's starting to make a connection there for you, Nolan. Very cool. Bob K., small win. A lot of this material is out there, but what is great about this course is how it's organized and makes the material very learnable. Thank you. Thank you, Bob, for saying that, and thanks for just digging in and kind of trusting the program. Very glad to hear that it worked out for you. Gordon M. My wife says I'm improving, but I can't hear it. My fingers are calloused on the tips, and I still hit 2 strings when I only want 1. I did join 2 of your courses. I am trying to commit to every day, still waiting for the small win. The fact that your attitude is in the right place, Gordon, I think is a small win in and of itself. And the fact that your wife can hear you improving is pretty awesome. Sometimes we're so close to things, it's hard to notice incremental improvement. But sometimes we need that outside perspective to say, wow, that's sounding really good. I really like that. In fact, the other night I had a similar situation. I was working on something. In fact, you can see it on Instagram. I posted a clip of me practicing, and I was going to take out some of the errors, but I decided this is me practicing. Practicing contains errors. I don't need to hide my errors. Nobody's perfect. Whitney was in the other room putting Emerson down, and she came out. She said, I really liked what you were playing. And I kind of looked at her like, were you hearing the same thing I was hearing? Because I thought it was just total rubbish. But she's like, I really like that. So I thought that's pretty cool. So that's a small win indeed, Gordon. Linda in Ohio says, small win. I agree with Dave A, and also helped me get a better handle on the notes of the fretboard. I thought I'd never be able to remember which frets are which notes. I've improved quite a bit with that. Thanks, Tony. You are welcome, Linda. Thank you. Beatrice says, small win for me was the Nashville number system. Kevin Smallwin being able to figure out any open tuning. Love that. That makes me aware, or makes me want to mention there's a kind of a continuation of Fretboard Wizard. It's an alternate tuning guide. You'll see it in the courses. It's right by Fretboard Wizard. You can access that. And what it does is it picks up where Fretboard Wizard leaves off, in that it applies these principles of the chord matrix to alternate tunings. And I think you're in for some serious light bulb moments when you check that out. So make sure to check that out. And there's also the foundations of fretboard navigation, which will help with note finding as well, all contained in that kind of that stage 3 compartment. Dan H says this. Small win transposing for me blew up in a great way when I mapped out the original key and the transposed key. Awesome. John V. Small win. I realize I'm not as good as I think I am. I have more learning to do. We all do. We really all do. But it's okay to feel good about what you know. It's really okay. It's not boastful in any way, shape, or form. And then the last small win here, Byron says, you made the cage system make sense. I used the barred B chord and barred C minor in the A shape, but never understood it was based on cage. Thank you. Love it. I love to hear that, Byron, and thank you for sharing that. Great doses of small wins. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing those. Those small wins are really important to your guitar journey. And I say that because small wins function as a way to feel good about what you're doing. And I've said this before, and it's actually science-backed. I just read this book, B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits. It's a great book. I'm kind of a habit and routine nerd, because, when you're teaching tons of members, you want to best facilitate a guitar routine that will work for them. That's fun. That brings focus, that issues progress. And one of the key factors of habit building, and again, this is science-backed, it's not the amount of time, it's actually how it makes you feel. So to see all these small wins and know that it's making people feel good makes me realize that you're doing a great job of committing to your guitar routine, and that you celebrating is going to fuel your guitar routine. You're going to pick up the guitar that much more and that much more frequently just because you're feeling good about what you're doing. And that really is what drives the habit. So very cool stuff. Thanks again, everyone, for sharing your small wins. Now, what do you say I give away a Waterloo WL14 made from the folks at Collings down in Austin, Texas? I'm a huge Collings fan. I have to say that. You might be saying, Tony, you don't own any Collings guitars. No, but I own 2 Collings mandolins, and they are the most amazing instruments. They're just the craftsmanship is incredible. See how I'm dragging this out? I'm going to do the giveaway, but I'm kind of dragging out. Sorry. I don't want to do a disservice to those of you who are on a time crunch, but Waterloo WL14, wow, stunning instrument. I'm about to give one away. Here goes nothing. I'm clicking the button on the number generator. It's number 43, and a gentleman by the name of Anthony T has won himself a Waterloo WL14. Anthony T, congratulations to you. So happy for you. We'll get that shipped out to you. In fact, Anthony T, you've won a Waterloo WL14. Congratulations. What a great guitar. And really, congratulations to everyone here. What a great awesome live. Thank you for participating. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for sharing your small wins. Thank you for those of you who won stuff. Thank you for winning stuff. And really, I think we all won stuff here. You know, to be able to feed off of each other's guitar journey is a gift in and of itself. And to be able to dedicate, you know, a specific amount of time to study in a specific field that will truly impact your journey and your involvement and your fun with the guitar and ultimately your fulfillment is huge. So I'm going to say we're all winners. You know, I feel like I gave away something to everybody on this live. I feel like a true game show host. My dreams are coming true. Your dreams are coming true. There's rainbows, there's butterflies, there's unicorns. I love it. Anyways, I am going to need to drink some water. And so let me just give you a last little piece of news here. I just want you all to know, you TAC members, that our next live guitar party is January 6th at 11 a.m. And it's a biggie. It's an important one. And if your schedule allows, I truly want you to be there. And if your schedule doesn't allow, please take the time and invest in the replay. We're going to be talking about guitar routine, and we're going to be setting your next 90-day goal. I'm going to walk you through a goal-setting framework that will increase your chances of success by 60%. I've used it the last 2 quarters, and it has truly made me follow through on the things I set out to do. So I'll share with you the results of my goal, and I'll set another goal alongside with you. I'll walk you through the process. You'll get the worksheets and everything involved, and it'll be a great way to kick off the year. It'll be an awesome way to kick off 2021. Set our sights on something super fun and positive, something unique to you and your guitar journey, and I'll help you achieve that by this goal-setting framework. I'm super pumped. Again, that's January 6th at 11 a.m. Please be there. I would love for you to be there, and I'd love to make that our biggest live party of the year of 2021. I guess it has to be the biggest one because it's the first one. Let's just say I'd like to make it a huge party because we're kicking off the year and we're doing it in the right fashion. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Again, thank you for your participation, your great attitudes, your fun, your focus, and ultimately the progress that you're achieving. I appreciate that in a huge, huge way. Until our next live on January 6th at 11 a.m., I'll see you on the Acoustic Tuesday show. And of course, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's an option as well, tac.guitar, and all the other socials and stuff. I'm kind of posting random things about practice and inspiration and a lot of great member stories and a lot of great guitar signals too. If you're a guitar geek, you got to check that out. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. Safe and happy, healthy holidays to you all. And I'll see you on January 6th at 11 a.m. Cheers to you all, and guitar